This is the Tame Aperture podcast.
Open the pod bay doors, please, Hal.
Hello, Hal, do you read me?
Do you read me, Hal? Do you read me, Hal?
Affirmative, Dave. I read you. I read you. I read you.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
Come on down and jump some of this shit.
You'll always have backup. Sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Welcome to the Tame Aperture podcast, where we talk all things movies from first-time directors, indie films, art house, and much, much more. Today, as we push beyond episode 50 and grow from an embryo to a fetus in our podcast development, we talk the 2019 film from director Jim Jarmusch titled The Dead Don't Die, starring Bill Murray, Adam Driver, Tom Waits, and many, many more. In the small town of Centerville, something is not quite right. And when the Earth shifts its axis due to polar fracking, the days get longer and the nights get scarier as the dead reanimate from their graves and feast upon the living. And citizens of the sleepy town must do everything to survive. I'm Gabe Vienendahl, filmmaker, film instructor, and movie enthusiast. And I'm joined, as always, by veteran podcaster, editor, Mr. Alan Martindale. Alan, how the hell are ya?
I'm awake.
You're not
this
dead?
Movie's this movie's boring, man.
Slow.
It's boring. It is boring.
Well, let's set...
I'm not gonna lie. Like, when this movie came out, Jess and I were super excited to see it. Trailers were awesome. Marketing was awesome. It's a horror comedy about zombies, right up my alley. It's got Bill Murray in it. Iggy Pop's in it. Tom Waits is in it. I've never walked out of a theater feeling so unsatisfied in my entire life. And so when you texted me and you said, let's do The Dead Don't Die, there's a little part of me that died inside.
You died.
I died.
I hadn't seen it, so I wanted to, and I didn't even ask you if you had seen it. I kind of assumed you probably had.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure. But it was so late at night when I texted you, I was like, let's just watch this one. And I'm like, that's right up his alley. He's going to like that movie.
Yeah.
A comedy horror film? That's like perfect lineup. Okay, so.
But Gabe, the problem is, it's a comedy horror film that's not scary and not funny. Like, it's the only two things you need for that kind of genre, and it's neither.
Okay, so we'll set the context a little bit, and then we'll move into why Alan hates this movie so much. And this once again could be right along Kronos as the shortest podcast in Tame Aperture history, based on Alan's pure despise of this film. I originally chose this for a couple of reasons. One is, like I said, I thought it'd be up your alley. And then secondly, and I hadn't seen it, so just reading the overview of the film, I was like, oh, Alan's going to love it. Wanted to we just came off of a high talking Maru, which was a great documentary and a little bit different angle than we've taken in the past. And then secondly, for me, I saw Jim Jarmusch directed it. And I haven't seen a whole lot of his portfolio. But that which I had seen was these short films, these vignettes that were pretty popular among filmmaker hipsters. I don't include myself in that, but I have friends that are filmmaker hipsters. And they love Coffee and Cigarettes, which is a short film that kind of spawned additional short films throughout his career. And the original one has Stephen Wright, who's a comedian, and then also has what's his name, the Italian actor, and I forget his name now. But these were a popular hit amongst we'll say the art house indie film community, these Coffee and Cigarette short films that Jarmusch directed. And then one of the follow-ups includes Bill Murray and RZA and Jizza from the Wu-Tang Clan, which is also right up my alley. I know it's your favorite band as well, Wu-Tang Clan. look, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't nothing to fuck with, right? Yeah.
I love Wu-Tang Clan. But so when I started seeing that it had Bill Murray and it had RZA, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna love this movie because I love both of those, those people. And so then we got into it, and I gotta say, it's definitely slow. The pacing's there. It's not entirely funny. There's little things that I could find amusing, but mostly overall, the thing that carried it was Bill Murray and Adam Driver. I think for me, the movie, I agree, the movie's boring. And as a zombie movie, it's, for me, and I want to get your thoughts on this, it's not overly exciting, so I'm not staying in with it. But I do like, for whatever reason, and I think it's probably more, when I was watching it, I was kind of thinking about this. I think it's more about me having a nostalgic reaction to Bill Murray. I just like Bill Murray. You talk about classic films that he's been in, Ghostbusters and Groundhog Day and all these other films. And so I have like a nostalgic kind of like, he's always interesting to me, right, is what I mean. And it's kind of based on this nostalgia. And he's just comfortable being himself. And he's not trying to act, but it makes it funnier because he's just like, he is what he is. And so that was entertaining. But overall, I'm going to have to agree with you right out the gate. This movie, I'm not sure where we're going, what we're doing, and why.
You have Bill Murray in your zombie movie.
Classic.
You got Bill Murray. Bill Murray is not easy to get from what I understand, too. He's not an easy actor to get. He's very particular with his roles. And you get him. And then you don't let him be Bill Murray. Like, he's a good actor. Like, he doesn't have to be wacky and weird and all, all the time. He's a great dramatic actor as well.
Yeah.
But you don't really let him do either. This movie, like, the only way I can describe this is unsatisfying. That's the best way. It's a visceral feeling. I felt like the level. I've been trying all day. I watched it this morning. I've been trying all day to figure out a good analogy, a good explanation of the feeling I get watching this movie, because it's so. And I don't have anything. I even asked Jess. I'm like, well, what do you think? Like, what is a good way to describe an unsatisfying feeling, or watching The Dead Don't Die? And she had some good ones, but it wasn't right. Like the best thing I could come up with was, like, if you're on a deadline, like you're working on an edit or something, and you have a client you gotta meet a deadline, but you keep getting distracted, and you can't put all your focus where it needs to be. And you get, I don't know, maybe most people don't get this, but this is something I get. I get like an anxious feeling, and I feel it in my head, and I feel it like in my chest, and I'm just like, ugh, that's what I feel when I watch The Dead Don't Die.
Because you don't know what it's supposed to be.
I don't know what it's supposed to be. I think I get what they're trying to do. I think. But this is not the outlet to do that in. Like, I think part of it might be commenting on how zombie films and horror films in general are pretty predictable, and they have kind of all the same characters. And I think there's some of that in there. I could be wrong. I could be mistaken. But I feel like that's part of it. Is that something that needs to be commented on? Like, we have a million other movies that do that much better.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get, like, to me, I don't understand it. You got a stellar cast. You got...
Can we just run through that real quick? Because I want to read through these names. If you were, I mean, this film is just, this is a huge ensemble. Bill Murray, Adam Driver, Tilda Swinton, Chloe Savannah? How do you pronounce her name?
I have no idea.
Steve Buscemi, Danny Glover, Rosie Perez, Iggy Pop, RZA, my man, Selena Gomez, Tom Waits. Like, what? You have it. I'm gonna say this: if you're stacking up that ensemble, it could be in the top 10 ensembles of all time in terms of power rankings of actors.
Have you ever heard of an ensemble this good and the movie wasn't good or was boring? At least it might not be a good movie.
I'm trying to think of a comparable, and the one that comes to mind, which isn't the same genre but has the same ensemble type. You think of something like Crash from 2004, and it's got like I don't even think that cast. It's got Don Cheadle and some other really good actors. It has Sandra Bullock, Don Cheadle, Matt Dillon, Brendan Fraser, Terrence Howard, Thandie Newton. Like, it's got a pretty stellar cast in terms of power rankings of actors.
Great actors, but this cast is cool. Like, that's the difference. This is like he pulled from music, and he just put together a really cool cast. Like
oh,
it sounds like such an old guy saying. I sound like such a boomer saying that, but they really are. Like Iggy Pop. Are you kidding me?
Iggy Pop. Well, and this is the thing. Like, and this is why I tried to remember why I liked. Have you seen Coffee and Cigarettes? Any of those short films that he's made?
No, I haven't.
These are the only ones I'm familiar with in his body of work, and I liked them. And they have this same style, but also they're short films. So I'm not trying to digest an hour and a half of this pacing. You know what I mean? I can take it in 7-minute spurts and be done.
Right.
And there's something about the dynamic of how the characters work with each other. RZA and Jizza with Bill Murray is funny in a coffee shop, and they're talking about being caffeinated. And it's just dumb.
Right.
But it's a 7-minute short film. Whereas here, I don't need to have that extend over an hour and a half of time.
It almost feels like it's an art house movie, which is fine. That's great. I like art house films. But do you really want to have like a star-studded cast and a zombie film and a comedy as an art house flick, like with Bill Murray? Like, to me, that doesn't fit. That doesn't mesh well. And I mean, all these actors, they must have seen something in the script to really get on board, because he got everybody.
Well,
everybody.
That's what I mean too, is half of them he's already built a relationship with, because I can go through this roster and I can see that half of them already did these Coffee and Cigarette short films with him.
Okay.
So at that point, they're
makes sense.
like, oh, we like doing that. That was fun. And Jim Jarmusch, from everything I can gather around him with a little bit of research, I didn't do a whole lot, but you can even look at his headshot, his portfolio headshot. And
I did look at that.
He looks like, who did he remind you of?
The
look. David Lynch.
David Lynch.
He looks like, because of the white hair, and it's kind of poofed up. You know, he's got glasses on. He's got the sunglasses on, stuff like that.
To me, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Andy Warhol.
Yes, and then those.
And so
you could lump Warhol and Lynch into the same type of category.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
And
like,
so,
in terms of artist.
Totally. But David Lynch, you watch it and it's weird and it's twisted, but there's something beautiful and something you can get behind with it, even if you don't fully understand it.
Yeah, Eraserhead's all time.
Eraserhead.
It's all time.
Exactly.
Like, there's nothing like it. It's so good.
Exactly.
I wish we would have done podcast number 2 on Eraserhead.
Yeah, seriously. It's outstanding. And this, I don't. It feels like they took an art house director and they gave him a giant, big budget film.
Yeah, you're looking at $15 million.
Yeah, and to me,
or no, I'm sorry, that was the box office receipts.
To me, like, it just doesn't. It doesn't fit. And I was trying to figure out what went wrong, because if you look at the story, I think if you just read the script, you'd be like, oh, cool. This is, I get it. I can get behind this. This sounds pretty cool. It sounds quirky. It sounds funny. But then, to me, it's got to just be a failing of the direction, right? To me, the director's really at fault. And I know he wrote it too. But it just, I don't know where else it goes wrong.
I just
because
don't-
the story's not bad. To me, it just seems like it's got to be just in the direction. That's where it falls flat.
Well, I agree. I just think it lacks commitment. There's no. I mean, you got to go all in.
But it almost feels like he's doing it on purpose, though.
Yeah. And well, look, I think alongside that, and part of my notes was, and I wanted to see what you thought about this was, look, he's got a little bit of subtextual elements. He's talking about bigger things. There's some political and obviously innuendos in there. There's some, the certain things about demise. He's talking about polar fracking.
But to me, is it though, or is it? And you might be right, or is it like this is something that would like you look at Dawn of the Dead? No, Dawn of the Dead. That was really George Romero commenting on the consumerism of America.
Yeah.
Like
I
there's
think
a
that's
subtext
hinted
there.
in here too.
Well, to me, I'm wondering if he is saying, well, this is what they do in horror movies, and he's commenting on that, on the fact that horror directors do that. And I don't know if he's trying to make it more seem like they're trying to be self-important by putting these subtextual messages in there, because it was so on the nose. Like there wasn't any subtlety when he's talking about the polar fracking, and then people saying, well, the politicians say it's okay. It was so blatant that there's no subtext there that I almost feel like he had to have been commenting on horror directors doing that style of thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But even with Adam Driver, when the zombie, like Iggy Pop saying coffee, and the chick in the jail cell who wakes up saying Chardonnay, we know that these zombies are gravitating towards things that they were either addicted to or had an unhealthy relationship with, or that they liked in real life. But they even have Adam Driver really nail it home with that line, like they're doing stuff they'd like to do in life. Like to me, it just seems so on the nose and so little subtlety at all that it's almost like he's making a comment about people who are making comments in their films.
Yeah, I mean,
I could be wrong.
No, I think there's probably something to that. And I also think, I don't know, and I also think that they're doing it to really emphasize like our own demise, our own where we focus certain areas of interest, like the pure fascination with coffee, with like our cultural emphasis on things, right? And how we're absolutely consumed by them. And I think you're right. You could take it that way, or you could take it down because there is a lot of, I think, homage, particularly to Romero and other kind of early zombie movies, where he's just homaging them. So maybe he's just saying, this is what they do and this is what they did, and so I'm doing it too. And then I'll just tie it into a more modern, theme. So
Yeah.
But it's got consumerism in it, right?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, there's that scene where they're going to the hardware store, and they're like because they're these undead are gravitating towards the new drill or the new thing, and that's not uncommon. I mean, Home Depot's kicking ass during this pandemic. You know what I mean? We're like there's an obsession to consumer goods, whatever they are. So you're right, though. He might be hinting. It's like two-faced. It's like, here, this is what they did, and on top of that, this is how Romero did it, but now I'm going to do that, and then also poke fun of it, and then also do it. Like, it's a weird, convoluted. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. I want there to be something more going on that I don't understand. It feels like there is, but I just don't care enough. I watched this movie, and the rest of the day I was in like a tired, sleepy haze. I had to take a nap.
You were undead.
I really was. Like, it left me. I really, literally had to take a nap. I watched this morning. It took me 4 hours to watch it because I had to keep stopping. It was worse watching it this time because I knew it wasn't going to pick up. I knew it wasn't going to get better. And the further you go into the movie, the more unsatisfying it is. It has everything that should be great in a zombie film. I mean, it really does. It's got, I think the cinematography is great. The acting is great. The cast is great. There's no reason whatsoever that it should be as, I don't even want to call it bad because it's not bad. It's just, yeah. It's like everything I felt about Kronos, this is times 5.
You're
I
nicer
walked
than me
away-
because in my notes I wrote, it took about an hour to get into the movie.
But I mean, that was the problem. For me, that was the problem because once you get into the movie, that's when it should build up. That's when it should crescendo. That's when you should be most interested in it. But as characters who you feel like are going to be important just die off screen. No, there's no reason for them to be in the movie. Like people like the Chloe, whatever her last name is, she just walks out of the car. Just like there's no reason for any of this stuff. It doesn't make any sense. I don't get it.
But then I'm thinking, okay, in a horror film, we're always poking fun of the reasoning that the characters have.
Sure.
Right? So maybe he's alluding to that as well, which is like, there is no rhyme. There is no reason. Because we always do that. Everybody does. Why is she doing that? Why is she running that way? What is she doing over here? Why didn't she go that direction? There's no reason. So that I can forgive a little bit, but I will say from the beginning, like I liked the first scene with Tom Waits and Bill Murray, and Tom Waits. So I was engaged for the first few minutes because that scene with Adam Driver, Tom Waits, and Bill Murray, his name's Hermit Bob, and he's out in the forest, and they walk out there and they say that the chickens, I think it's the farmer's chickens or something, they're accusing him of taking the farmer's chickens or killing them, and he shoots them, or he shoots at them. And tells him to fuck off. And I was like, that interaction actually was really funny. And then from there, once again, the next hour, I'm in an abyss.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. The movie starts. The credits start rolling. And you're seeing all these big names pop up.
Oh, I'm stoked.
All these cool names pop up. And then it goes into that first scene. I mean, at this point, what are you thinking? You're expecting a good movie,
I'm
right?
stoked. That first scene's good. It's funny. I thought it was. I was ready to go. Rock and roll.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So I don't know if you've seen any of the trailers, and I haven't seen them since they were released, the initial marketing push for the film when it came out. But I remember watching it and being like, I can't wait to see this movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's been a while since we've had a good, fun zombie film. Bill Murray's, like, I was so excited. Then you get there and you see all these names popping up and you're like, oh God, Iggy Pop's in this. Oh, Tom Waits. Hell yeah, this is sweet. I can't wait. And then it just like, it doesn't really build to anything. It just is kind of like, I don't know, man. I'm trying to think of something. It's like you go on a ski trip and you're pumped to get out there, but there's no snow. Like I'm trying to find some analogy to explain how disappointed I was. And it just is awful feeling this, watching this movie.
It feels like, here's a wrestling analogy for you. WWF or WWE now. I don't watch WWE, but I used to watch WWF Saturday mornings. Loved it when I was a kid.
Stone Cold.
So you had like Undertaker and, Ultimate Warrior. Here's what it felt like. It's like I got into the ring with the Undertaker and I body slammed him and he was out for the count. And I was energetic. I was happy. I was excited. And then remember what the Undertaker used to do? He used to slowly rise up after he got hit.
That's right.
He'd slowly rise up. And then you were like, oh shit, it's on now. We're in trouble. That's how I felt in this movie. First scene, I body slammed the Undertaker. Good to go. I'm feeling good. Let's juiced up, ready to go. Then I look over and he slowly rises from the dead. And I was like, oh shit, we're in for one.
Yeah.
And it was a hard one to get through.
At what point did you realize this is not what I
it was
thought
like it was shortly thereafter that first scene. The Undertaker rose. He rose and I go, oh shit, this is a real match. It's going to take forever to get through. I didn't.
The first act is long because they are introducing you to all these characters.
Yeah.
And so I was okay with that a little bit because I was like, okay, this is good because it's building to something, right? Like You can't have all these big actors. You can't have all this fun stuff unless it's building to something.
Right.
Like,
So
this is going to be awesome.
15 minutes, 20 minutes in, I'm out. And then when RZA comes in, drops some knowledge. I'm a RZA. I like RZA,
Dude,
so I was cool.
That was such a cool scene. It was like, dude, RZA's going to be in it. There's like, he's friends with this nerd kid. Like, this is going to be awesome. I can't wait.
That
What's
nerd
gonna
kid
happen
is
with
like
with
totally
these guys?
aspiring to be RZA.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
loves
exactly.
RZA. And I love
Exactly.
that scene. But then
But
after that, I'm
I do
out.
want to say, I did love the truck that RZA was driving.
Wasn't it
The
a
Woo
UPS truck?
PS. It was, but it said Woo PS.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I
Drop
thought that
of
was a cool
knowledge.
little thing. Yeah.
That's the best thing. That's the best shout out of the
thing
whole
in the
movie. And I missed
right,
it.
exactly. Yeah. It's the best thing. It's hilarious.
Shortly thereafter, 20 minutes, I'm out. I came back a little towards the end. Even though, like when they're basically realizing that they're gonna die, or they've got to go out swinging, so to speak. But not a lot going on in between. So I don't know what Jeremush is doing.
What do you think about the fourth wall breaks? I'm okay with it usually. I don't mind it. I just don't understand why you go so far in breaking the fourth wall so few times. Like, if you're gonna do it, go full Naked Gun, go full Airplane. Like, let's do it.
Well, that's what I mean. I think there's a lack of commitment to anything. I'm going to
Right.
do little spurts of things here and there, but I'm not going to really commit to a full-blown horror film or a zombie film, and I'm not going to completely commit to an all-out comedy.
Or an ensemble film.
Or an ensemble film, right? So, yeah, and the more we're talking about it, you're just getting me more and more like blah.
Welcome to my day. This is all day.
Thanks for dragging me down into your dead don't die shithole.
Misery loves company, my friend. The shithole is warm. Jump in.
I think it takes a while to even understand the cadence, and I don't know of the movie. I mean, the pacing and the cadence, and then at that point, you've checked out, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I thought there were a couple interesting things that he tried to do, like with Adam Driver. I think Adam Driver is he's the audience, right? He's either the audience or he's the writer.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
I couldn't tell which
I would
one he is.
position him in that point of view of the audience.
That's what I was thinking.
had to
He's the
choose.
audience.
Yeah.
I mean, even when he goes in and he looks at the, in the diner, he sees the dead bodies and he goes, "Oh, yuck!" Like, that's what an audience member,
Right.
when they see that kind of thing, that's what they say. "Oh, yuck," and then it's over because they know it's not real. Whereas if you were to see that in real life, it would be traumatic. And also, I want to say something about that diner scene. When the cops get there and they go in and see, why do we need to see all three of them go in individually, look at the same exact shot of the dead body, and then the other shot of the other dead body, and then walk out? Like, why? It takes so much time.
It takes so much time, but I think you're nailing it. I think you almost answered your own question. And I think that he's positioning three different point of views. One, I like what you have going on here. And I think one is that of the audience or the viewer through Adam Driver. The other is the realistic point of view, which is Chloe, because she actually responds like a normal human being.
Throughout the whole movie, she's the only one who does.
And then you have Bill Murray, who's like in the neutral territory. I don't know where he sits. He's the what you might consider the authority or the cop who's seen things and isn't quite. He's a little desensitized, but not desensitized to the point of Adam Driver. That's absolutely absurd.
Yeah, he's really just moving the plot along.
Yeah. So there's different point of views going on, but it's way too slow. You don't need to see all three of them in that instance.
All three of them go in. They slowly go in. They slowly look at. I mean,
How do you get all these? How are you getting all these out? How are you convincing? And it's not like I'm this huge fan, but Selena Gomez is a huge actor. She's very culturally popular.
Yeah, she's a big name.
Big name. Okay, come do my movie and do 5 minutes and then die.
I don't know.
That doesn't. You know what I mean?
don't-
Like, that's a hard
is she-
sell for an actor of that scope.
I mean, I agree. other than the fact that you say Bill Murray's in it, Adam Driver's in it, Rosie Perez is in it, Iggy Pop is in it, Tom Waits is in it. Like that might be how you do it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. You're just parlaying your big talent to get the other talent.
But why are those characters, her and her two friends, why are they even in the movie?
Because they're hipsters from Cleveland.
I thought that was pretty funny.
That was
They're
actually
hipsters
pretty funny.
They're hipsters from the big city. That was pretty funny.
They consider Cleveland the big city.
The big city. Well, first they were from Pittsburgh.
Yeah. They were trying to deduce where they were from.
Exactly. That was pretty. Again, there's lots of moments that are kind of like half chuckles in this thing. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like when Adam Driver's hauling ass in his little smart car. That was funny. That was a funny little shot.
Let's get to Tilda Swinton.
Okay, best part of the movie, other than
I wrote the
Iggy
same
Pop.
thing, and here's you had just answered it, which was my question. Which of all the characters is your favorite?
Totally Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, I agree. I wrote that in mine. She's basically the mortician, and then it evolves. But she's the mortician. It definitely evolves. But she's the mortician, and she had some great one-liners that I loved.
Yes.
And then I loved her matter-of-fact approach as she's cleaning up bodies and doing stuff in the morgue. And then the zombies come alive. And she's like, my favorite line, this is my favorite line of the whole movie, by the way, where they're back and forth. They're becoming reanimated, the two people that are dead that she's fixing on the morgue table. And
fixing by putting clown makeup on, essentially.
No, like Boy George makeup.
Right, Boy George makeup.
This was funny. And then they're getting reanimated, and then she goes, oh, so the dead don't want to die today. And she pulls her samurai sword out and chops their heads off. That to me was one of my favorite parts. I loved it.
So good. It's so good.
I was like, this is where I went to myself. Why isn't she? Look, I like Adam Driver. I love Bill Murray. But why isn't Tilda Swinton's character the emphasis of what we're following? Because hers is exciting. It was fun to watch.
It was fun. But okay, this sums up this movie perfectly for me. When they're slicing the zombies up, even when they cut their heads off, it's unsatisfying because there's no blood. Instead of blood, we get like dust flying up.
I like the dust. I don't know why.
I hated it. I hated
knew you
it.
would.
That sums up the entire film for me because even when you're chopping off a head, you have to figure out a way to make it unsatisfying.
Even the only reason it works is because this movie doesn't.
Again, I think I get what he's trying to do, but no, dude, no. There's a couple things in life that give me pleasure, and seeing a little bit of gore when you chop off a zombie's head is one of them. Either don't have anything at all, or you got to have a little blood splattering everywhere. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking. I don't want dust. Dust? What are you kidding me?
It's black dust.
It's like black smoke, dust, soil. I don't know what it is.
Have you ever
It's
watched
awful.
Lost? The smoke monster?
Oh yeah, don't get me started on that, man. Do not get me started on Lost.
What, your favorite
We'll be here
TV
all
series
day.
of all time?
Started so good, so great, and then they
we
just
could
didn't know where to
take
go
a
with
quick
it.
detour into Lost because I love it.
Oh, we could. You liked the ending,
Yeah, I don't mind the ending.
so why do they got to protect the island? What's the point?
We're not going to get into Lost right now. We're going to
No,
take
I
4
want to know
hours into this
Hold on.
podcast.
I'm much more interested in this than I am in the Dead Don't Die.
I know, but here's what I want to ask you then. What did you like least? I got questions for you, so
Okay.
we can play a game and make this entertaining, so that people aren't just like hearing us shit on the Dead Don't Die. Okay. What did you? Okay, you have to stretch here. You
Okay.
got to stretch. What did you like best about the movie? And it can't be.
I love
Can't
some of the shots.
Can't be Tilda Swinton's character because I think that's
It's not. I liked her. I liked a lot of the shots. I thought they were great. That scene when they're in the police car and the zombies are kind of surrounding it. Those shots are outstanding. Like that should be a very intense part of the movie. And it's just not at all. But I really, really loved visually what they did at times. I thought it was great.
What's interesting that you say that, and we were talking about, this is crazy because we were talking, and I didn't know this, I just saw it. We were talking about David Lynch And there's a little, I'm not saying they're the same filmmaker. I just mean that, like you said, I think they're taking an art house indie guy and putting him into this world to try to create a movie like The Dead Don't Die. Because what you said, and I agree, the cinematography is really good. And the cinematographer, Frederick Elms, also filmed Blue Velvet.
Oh, really?
Which is a David Lynch film. So there's a little tie-in there in terms of, because as we know, the director of photography is such a huge role in making a movie in terms of the aesthetic and the visual. So there's a little tie-in to Lynch. So I agree with you. The cinematography would be one of the things that I thought was done really well. What did you like least besides everything?
Well, hold on. Before we jump off that, for anyone watching on YouTube, like you can see on my TV, I have the wallpaper for The Dead Don't Die.
Which is awesome, but I have a lot to say about their concept art.
Well,
and their
that's what a lot of the movie looks like. It looks cool. It looks like it should be a creepy, freaky zombie movie. But it's not. It's just not. And so visually, I like what they did, but it just doesn't hold up. What did I like least? It's not that I was bored. There's just no payoff. The whole movie, there's just no payoff. There's nothing where you see it and you're like, oh, that was cool. That was awesome. I want more of that. There's nothing that is going to make me keep watching.
Yes, I agree. I'm sharing with you, you can see it with me, the poster. Do you see this poster?
Yep.
That is a kick-ass poster.
It's awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
That's what I liked most about the movie.
Yeah, I agree. It looks cool.
Yeah, very cool. I'm going to take that off. So, run me through what you were thinking when you finished watching the film.
Honestly,
one word. Let's narrow it down.
Credits roll, and I'm thinking, finally. That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
It took me 4 hours to get through this movie.
4 hours to get through an hour and a half movie.
Yeah,
that sums it up.
Maybe 3.5, but that sums it up perfectly because I was so bored.
And then lastly, my question, and I've said this before, but before I said editing, this time I'm going to say writing. If you are writing the screenplay for this movie, what or how would you have changed the ending?
I'm not sure I would have changed anything because, again, I think the writing is not bad. I think it falls flat in the direction. I think it falls flat in production and maybe some post-production with some of the music choices. But I think the story's cool. Honestly, at the end when Tilda Swinton becomes it's revealed that she's an alien and the UFO
so this is why this is my favorite character. It's totally offbeat, totally off path. I didn't expect it. It threw me for a loop, but I loved it because it was so absurd.
Yes, something happened finally.
Exactly.
It's like something exciting happened, something that I didn't at all see coming, but then it's gone, it's over, and they don't mention it again.
And then it kind of gives context to her character going back when you find out she's an alien. When she steals Adam Driver's smart car and she's driving down the street and she's like, oh, what a fun little machine. And then she's chopping off zombie heads in the street. I did love that part. And then when I realized she's an alien, that was even more rewarding that she thought the smart car was hilarious. She loved the smart car.
It's great. I loved it.
Anyway, I wanted to see more of her. That's what I would have said.
I agree. What did you like most about this film?
That's it right there. Tilda Swinton's character and her arc, I would have liked to have seen more of. Because I'm curious because it just kind of left it up. She's there in this small town. She's the mortician. No one knows, but she's an alien. And then she gets beamed up, so that the zombies can't get her. I guess I don't know.
It's pretty cool, and I love how she just leaves the other guys in the dust.
And then it cuts to Bill Murray, and he's like, "I knew there was something off about her."
Yeah, exactly. What did you hate most about this?
I think two things, and they both deal with the characters. The characters that I liked most weren't in the film enough. I already talked about Tilda Swinton, but additionally, I really liked Tom Waits' character. I
Me
really
too.
liked Hermit Bob.
I thought he was great.
I wanted to see more Hermit Bob.
And I loved it. I loved his reaction when Farmer Fred, I think, who is played by Steve Buscemi, when he gets killed. I just loved his reaction. He's like, what did he say? He had a great line. It's like, yeah, you had it coming or something along those lines.
Something to that effect.
And it was just great. It's just because that was the most satisfying part of the movie, is seeing him get killed. Because he was an asshole.
Yes. Steve Buscemi.
But again, he wasn't in it enough.
No.
He was great. Steve Buscemi's great. You have, again, we didn't mention him when I'm talking about how great this cast is. Steve Buscemi's in it. It's great. And I love the little thing that he's wearing, the Make America White Again hat. And I love those little fourth wall breaks, because it's like, well, you see that hat and that's what you're thinking. You know? Like, that's what people translate it to. And there's just little things like that I really like. The woo PS I thought was cool. Like, there's some stuff in here that I think is just, it's so close to being good. But like you said, there's just not enough commitment.
No, I think that's the biggest thing for me is he's not going in. I think he's winking at the genre. I think he's making reference and homage, and then also winking at the audience. I think a little bit, but he's just, for whatever reason, there's a lack of commitment in certain areas that really drive those winks home. They feel meaningless. The winks feel meaningless.
I agree 100%. I did like the Adam Driver, this isn't going to end well. I thought that was a cool little thing. But then they go in too much on the whole script thing. Like, what the hell is that little... They're talking about how Jim Jarmusch didn't give them both the script, or it's just, why are you doing that? To me, it doesn't make sense. It makes sense if it's Airplane or Naked Gun, but it doesn't make sense in this context.
I agree. Should we get into our favorite part of the podcast here with Google reviews?
First, I have a question for you. So, these zombies, they gravitate back towards things that they enjoy doing in life.
Yes.
If you're in this universe, you die, you come back as a zombie. Where are you going? What are you doing?
The movie theater.
It's good. It's a good one.
I really am. That's where I'm going. Even though there are kind of becoming obsolete in our day and time, that's where I'm going.
That's a good one. I like it.
And I'm saying popcorn.
Popcorn, yeah.
Because they just, one word is all you can say. So, and I'm going to watch a George Romero zombie film.
Yeah, you got to. If you're a zombie, you got to, right?
But I'm not going to watch this one.
No. I wanted this to be Bill Murray's extended cameo in Zombieland.
Yeah, I enjoyed Zombieland a lot. But once again,
I thought it was pretty good. Yeah.
It's fun and it's entertaining.
It's fun.
And you can stay in it. Whereas this one, not so much. And yeah.
Right.
Or Shaun of the Dead. Like, there's things that are, I think, those kind of movies that work, the comedy horrors that work. I think I really like Shaun of the Dead, actually.
Yeah.
But this, it's not there.
And it's not like it's bad. It's just,
It's like this. It's like the comedian who gets up and they're really slow talking and very internal with their thoughts.
And you came to a comedy show to laugh and get energized and have a good time.
To be honest, I want the guy, the guy who's coming out saying dumb shit and having energy.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's you're getting pretty close to nailing the feeling I had watching this. You're right there. I can't really pinpoint it.
Well, let's see what the Google reviewers think, and they'll help pinpoint it for you.
Favorite part of the show.
Right out the gate. Don't even have to scroll down.
I had a feeling
one star.
With Maru, we had a hard time finding any bad reviews at all.
Yeah.
I did not foresee us having that same problem with this one.
Not even going to read through this whole one. Just says, I'm not, and you're going to love this, I already know. I'm not going to give you a spoiler warning since there's nothing to spoil. This movie sucks.
It's so true.
This movie sucks. Okay, well, there you go for that one.
This movie sucks, man. It does.
Okay, here's a 3 out of 5. All right, so they're middle tier. This film isn't for everyone, and for those expecting the typical zombie horror comedy, were either relieved that it was a little unusual but true to the genre, or left with a feeling of being irked or agitated afterward.
Yes, that's it. I was agitated.
They say, I personally enjoyed the film for the most part. I got it. The main message being that people are zombies before an outbreak. Our addictions, whether it's coffee or materialism, is what many hunger for in life, and you end up being what you were in death too. Okay. Going in. 3 out of 5.
Oh, before you move on, I can't believe I haven't mentioned this yet. That Sturgill Simpson song is like fingernails on a chalkboard to me.
Is that a real song?
I don't know, and I don't care. I never want to hear it.
That was one of my questions for you too. I don't know, because I don't even know. Is that a real musician?
Yeah, he's a real guy.
I know. I'm sorry, I don't know. I know Wu-Tang Clan and RZA and Jizza and Method Man. I can name probably most of the Wu-Tang. I don't know Sturgill Simpson though.
Yeah, no, he's a real guy. I think he's a country guy. Obviously, country music to me is awful.
I'm not a huge fan. I have a pretty wide spectrum of music, but it's not up there for me. That's for sure.
I try and I can appreciate most forms of music. Pop country, I just
I was going to say I can do older country. I like George. Like if I had to go George Strait, something more classic. I don't know how to describe it.
Johnny Cash,
George Strait, people who are like just straight country.
Right.
I could probably at least get for. Okay, here we go.
Willie
1
Nelson.
out of 5. Ready?
Yes.
1 out of 5 stars. I'll just start by saying ellipses. Okay. ...
Okay.
If you're able to actually sit all the way through this movie, good for you. After a short time in, I decided to stick it out just so I could adequately add this review. I do feel...
Hey, but you know what? That's better than a lot of reviews we've read. I'm very proud of this person because a lot of the time they're like, I haven't even watched it, but it sucked.
Yes.
So I'm proud that this guy actually stuck it through.
Greg did his diligence.
Good job, Greg.
And then he follows up, I do feel like a certain level of intel. Okay, let me start that over because I flubbed that. Sorry, Greg out there. I didn't mean to flub that up. Usually I'm pretty good at reading these.
Greg's on track, so yeah.
I do feel like a certain level of intelligence was drained from me just for having watched it.
Greg is a wise man.
12 people found that helpful.
You know what? Mark it a 13.
Okay, and I'm just scrolling through here, Alan, and we're mainly seeing 1 star. Here's a 4. Okay. I'm interested to see what Jay has to say. Just 4 weeks ago, by the way. So this is a recent review. If you're only going to watch this film once, you may want to let the dead stay dead. Okay. However, if you consider yourself one of those rather specific type of genre fans who spend a good portion of the 80s and 90s wearing through your library of horror cult classics until the 4 heads in your old VCR finally expired, this may be the twisted oddity you've been dying for.
Oh my God.
Jay.
That was pretty self-important.
I know. Let's do a little bit more of this. I'm kind of liking where he's going.
Killing me, Jay.
The script is dry. The acting is intentionally deadpan stiff. And the practical effects marry well with the mercifully sparse digital images that appear throughout the film. I'll go fuck yourself, Jay.
He's writing a dissertation on The Dead Don't Die.
Like, can we move on to something else? Who's reading these reviews?
God, man.
Oh, Jay. The blowhard.
He's trying. He's trying.
Okay, last one. I got one more. Okay, this doesn't have a star rating, but it says the movie was funny and very few moments for me.
I would agree with that.
The science wasn't believable, but it was comedically unbelievable, which was one of the few things I found funny. Still, a little more attempt would have been nice. What?
The science
I'm lost already. I'm moving on to
all of the quips about this movie, all of the things you could pick apart, the science. Give me the science of a zombie movie.
What
didn't
is
sit
this?
well with
Like,
him.
are we talking like, you know?
God, man.
What's the damn documentary that Al Gore made?
Inconvenient
Yeah,
Truth?
are we talking inconvenient truth
Yeah,
here?
exactly.
And are we discussing science and truth and facts? And what are you talking about, dude? It's the dead don't die.
It's a zombie movie, bro.
The science was inaccurate. Okay. Thanks for that review, ass.
Polar fracking couldn't pull the Earth off its axis. Excuse me.
There's no way that happens. Okay, last one. This time I mean it. And this is funny because it's like, this is where I don't like reviews because then they get personal, even though I just kind of got personal on that last reviewer.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
okay.
Sorry, last reviewer. It says, elitist jeremush plays pretentious practical joke on, I'm reading this verbatim, so I'll repeat.
Okay.
Elitist jeremush plays pretentious practical joke on, comma, and at the expense of, comma, zombie movie fans aided by his super famous leftist Hollywood buddies.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The message Jay sends to the masses, you materialistic consumerist sheep. You are the real zombies.
Oh, my God.
Now, I have to say he's probably right. Not in the sense of knocking Jay Jarmusch, but I think there's a message there. I don't know if it's that deep. But this, another little bit of a pretentious read here.
The thing that I could agree with, actually, is this may have been a practical joke played on horror fans. It very well may have been.
That I don't disagree with. I do not disagree with that at all.
But, man, they're like searching hard for the political angle there.
Really going in deep. Really going in deep. So far, we're taking The Dead Don't Die, and we're really taking that subtext to the political angle. And we're questioning science.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Alan, so give me a little summary of the film for you, although I think I know where it goes, and throw that rating at me. I'm curious to see where you land.
I'm done with the movie. I don't know, man. It is what it is. I don't get it. I don't know why you make this movie. It's not like it was bad. It's just I've never, again, sound like a broken record, and I apologize, but I've never felt so unsatisfied watching a movie in my entire life. There's just no reason for it to not be a stellar movie. You got all the elements there, and I really do think it comes in the direction. I really think that's where it falls flat. I don't know. Let's go 6 golden Buddhas.
Wow, but still going with a 6.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not. Here's the thing: I'm shitting all over it because I am kind of pissed off at it because I do feel like a practical joke has been played on me. But it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just not anything. It's just bleh. You know, it's nothing exciting, nothing good. It's fun to see these actors kind of coming together, but it's nothing. It's whatever.
So coming in with an even 6.
An even 6.
All right. IMDb comes in at a 5.5.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, I guess we're always going to be above IMDb.
Critics come in at 54%, totally rotten.
Totally rotten.
Audience really shitting on it, putting it in the can and sending it to the landfill. 38%.
Wait, what were the critics? What was the critics score? Okay.
Audience 38. So I think you might be onto something. I almost wonder if Jeremush is playing a joke on.
It feels like it.
And I can almost see that. Look, it's
so, I played right into his hands. Like I did exactly what he wanted me to do.
You got so bent over about how shitty it was.
Exactly.
Now he's just smiling on his director's chair.
Exactly.
It's mildly amusing. Like, it has moments that are funny. I think, once again, Tilda Swinton's character is the best, so that keeps me engaged. The zombie angle on it, doesn't do a whole lot. The jokes are mostly dry. A couple of them land, but 85% of them don't.
Yeah, I think that's a good estimation of the percentage.
This is his style. I mean, if you watch, and like I said, I've only seen Coffee and Cigarette, but you watch that, and I don't think it fits into this long form. So I'm going to come in with the Dead Don't Die. The film apologist in me is like, I want to give it a higher score than what my intellectual mind is telling me. My brain's telling me to give it this score, and then the film apologist, because I love movies in general, is telling me, just bump it up a little.
I think that brings up a good point, though, real quick before you give your rating. Film is such a difficult, to make a movie is very difficult because you need all these elements coming together. It's very collaborative, as we all know. And if you have one element that's really bad, it can just ruin the movie. Like, you look at this and you go, he got together an insanely great cast. I think the script probably reads really well if you read it. The cinematographer is outstanding. There's no reason it should be bad, but because one element, which is so important, is the direction is so bad, that's what makes it fall on its flat on its face, in my opinion. So I understand. I think for the first time, Gabe, I'm understanding your rah, they did it. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I've always felt that way because, you know, I've made things. I've been involved in productions, and I know how difficult it is. But I think this is the first time it really is hitting me over the head. Like, yeah, getting a movie done is really, really difficult. And you got to have all your elements. Like, so to make a great movie is next to impossible, I think. But people still pull it off somehow. Yeah,
I think that's a great way to say it. So I'm going to come in with, for the poster and the artwork, 9.2.
The graphic designer.
I mean, if you look at, there's
the
various posters, 2-3 versions, the one you have behind you. I'm going like that poster alone. And I love horror, but I'm not as big of a horror fan as you are. But I look at that poster and I go, oh, hell yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
Because it has the 80s retro vibe. It has the zombies. Okay, I'm going. Let's do it. And it looks great, just designed really well. So 9.2, that's a hell of a score for artwork. For the film itself, I got to come in lower than Alan. 5.6 smart cars.
Ah, nice. That's a good one.
5.6 smart cars. So there you have it. The Dead Don't Die. Alan, do you have any last thoughts before we round out this episode?
No, but I am starting to keep, I have a leather-bound book that I made, by the way.
It looks good.
I am starting to keep all of our scores in this book.
For those listening, Alan has a really nicely constructed leather-bound book. I'm going to say it, Alan, very Indiana Jones-esque.
It is, and I made it.
That's awesome.
It's all me right there.
Dr. Jones would be proud.
But we're going to so I'm going to start keeping track of all our scores. And so we'll have everything. So if we ever question, I mean, starting at episode 49, because I have Kronos in here.
Oh, good. Yeah, this is something we should have been doing for a while.
I know. I don't know why I have not been writing them all down like this.
We can always go back and retrofit, but hey, we made it to 50 podcasts.
It's pretty damn good, man. Most don't get past 10.
I'm impressed. There's a few shitty ones in there.
Really selling the show.
Hey guys, go check us out at tameaperture.com for those shitty few first episodes.
See if you can find which ones are bad.
What's that?
See if you can find which ones are bad, and then let us know you found them.
Hey, I was going to say this, and this goes for everybody listening. First off, shout out to everybody listening. Ran across a former student of mine on campus the other day and mentioned they were listening and downloading the podcast, to shout out to them. I won't mention names because I don't know if they want me to, but they know who they are, so shout out to them. And then I was going to say that the most watched, or I don't know about downloads, but the most watched episode of all time on Tame Aperture Podcast, 50 episodes in. Take a guess. Say most popular in terms of views, and this could be YouTube and Facebook, and also kind of downloads. So kind of the accumulation of all platforms. Most
Let's see
popular.
here. I'm on the website now. I'm going to say Clockwork Orange.
No. Guess one more.
No.
It's right up your
Is
alley.
it Kubrick?
It's right up your alley, dude. Just
Chainsaw?
Go with what your heart tells you. Nailed it.
Chainsaw. Really?
Yep.
Chainsaw?
Yep.
No way. The original?
Yeah. The one we did
Not
way
the remake.
back when.
Holy shit. That's awesome. Smart. Look, our audience is smart, man.
They get it.
They know what's good and what's bad. They're gonna flock to the good stuff, man.
TCM is good. The Dead Don't Die. Nah, not so much.
Not so good. Could have used a Leatherface or a chainsaw.
This
movie desperately needed a chainsaw.
I mean, it probably would have. They actually never pulled one out when he's going through
No.
all the tools to take the head, to sever the head of the zombies.
It's my first
I don't
weapon.
think there's a chainsaw in that.
I don't think so.
In that tool set.
Nope. He's got a drill, but no chainsaw.
That's a hard fell.
That
on
is.
Jeremush's end.
That is.
Okay, everybody. Well, this has been the Tame Aperture Podcast, episode 51. Breaking the barrier, feeling good. I was kidding about all the previous shitty episodes. They're not. They're good. Download them.
They're all great.
Listen to them. They're evergreen. They last forever. There's no reason they're dated. So go check them out at tameaperture.com. For Alan, this is Gabe with Tame Aperture Podcast signing out.
The Tame Aperture podcast is produced by Dutch Angle Pictures in association with Studio B Productions. Listen, watch and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify and YouTube.